Stories to start your morning. Big news for the Giants. They'll reportedly hire Vikings offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur when Minnesota's season ends. Odell Beckham Jr. tweeted he was, quote, geeked about the news. CC, what would hiring Shurmur mean for the future of the Giants?
Well, I know Pat. He's the offensive coordinator in Minnesota, former coach, the Cleveland Browns head coach there. You know, all coaches in Cleveland go there to die, so he didn't get the type of credit. But if you look at the work that he's done with the quarterbacks, that's Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Bradford, and now Case Keenum. Also the development of Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, both of these guys playing at a Pro Bowl level. Yes, I would be excited if I was an offensive player with the Giants because they have good personnel, don't have great personnel. Need to get that offensive line fixed, just like the Vikings had to do last season.
If the Giants, had the Giants hired Matt Patricia, then I would imagine Dave Gettleman would be the man making the decision about are we taking a quarterback at number 2, because you'd be hiring a defensive-minded head coach. If you hire Pat Shurmur, an offensive-minded head coach, he gets to make that call, right? Like, you're not going to hire him and then say, we're going to stick you with a quarterback you don't want. I know the owners have said, we want Eli around. I'd be very interested to see if what Shurmur would decide to do with the number 2 pick.
Yeah, I don't know if they would hire Patricia if my man would have been tweeting like that. Don't know if the New England way is the OBJ way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Big news for Andrew Luck and the Colts. Indianapolis is reportedly close to making Josh McDaniels their new head coach. The current Patriots offensive coordinator does have head coaching experience. He was the head coach of the Broncos back in 2009-2010. CC, what do you think? Good fit for Indianapolis?
I mean, what are we getting in Indianapolis? And I'm not certain that Josh goes to Indianapolis. I believe there's a couple other places. Yesterday, Mike Mularkey, him and Tennessee decided to part ways. He has a relationship with the general manager in Tennessee, so I could see Josh at the last moment going to Tennessee and working with Marcus Mariota. It seems like he likes Marcus a little bit better than the Andrew Luck mystery as far as his shoulder. And also you got to deal with Jim Irsay if you decide to take that coach job, which is a tricky proposition.
Well, he's going to be a head coach, though, somewhere next year. And it is amazing what image rehabilitation going back to New England has done for Josh McDaniels.
It's kind of like Lane Kiffin when he went with Alabama with Nick Saban.
Correct, and I'm glad you brought that up, because guess what we found out about Lane, for good or for bad? He never changed. He was the same guy and is the same guy now with his petty tweets.
Which is a good coach.
Right. No, absolutely. That's why I said for good or for bad. My boy, I think Lane is a very good coach. But, like, the personality conflicts that he had at USC or at Oakland, those didn't go away because he was around Nick Saban. Josh McDaniels had a lot of controversy in Denver.
Yes.
The way he treated the players, whether or not he followed all the rules, his decision to draft Tim Tebow in the first round, like all of those things. So I'm just curious what his second go-round of a head coach will look like.
All right, to the NBA now. The Sixers and Raptors, oh, that nasty rivalry, said nobody ever. But Ben Simmons and Kyle Lowry were both ejected after a skirmish last night.
Go. Oh, yeah, let's go. Let's go. Oh, you walking, I'm running. You just point it back there. I'm going to go. I'll meet you. I'll meet you on your half of the side.
See, that's good, because I didn't know what was happening there. Now I know exactly what was happening there. The two gestured as if they were going to settle things in the tunnel. Simmons claims they never actually met up. Nick, what was your reaction to all this?
My reaction is Ben Simmons doesn't want those problems. I understand Kyle Lowry's about a foot shorter, 6 inches, 8 inches shorter than him. He does not want those problems. Kyle Lowry, Cece, you've heard me say this. I am not like to fight guy. Kyle Lowry, he likes to fight. Ben Simmons doesn't want that. So, I mean, good. Ben Simmons pointed. He did not expect Kyle Lowry to be so eager. Oh, yeah. Okay, sure. I will eject myself from this contest.
I didn't know I was going to have to turn into Dana White, UFC, FS1, breaking down, what division these guys are in. What's his strong suit? Tell her the tape. He's got a nice jab. He's a counterpuncher. He's a grappler. Loves to get on the ground. Like, no, none of these guys are fighters. NBA dudes aren't tough. Like, I'm sick of these guys ain't nobody going outside. Catch me outside. Get on your private jet and go to the next city.
There's 450 guys in the NBA. None of them are fighters.
They got Steven Jackson. He's not in the league. He's in the big 3. Steven Jackson is going down. Much respect, Jack. Much respect, Jack. Where you at right now?
Good. Glad you guys don't like fighting in the NBA.
Oh, I like it.
Let's call this the Capulets and the Montagues of the NBA these days. The Clippers and the Rockets. And unlike Shakespeare, there is zero love between these two. They played each other last night in a game filled with tension, with fouls, and with heated exchanges. The Clippers won 113-102. Don't forget, Houston's Chris Paul left the Clippers last year for Houston. Well, after the game, CP3 reportedly led 3 teammates, including James Harden, through a back tunnel to the Clippers locker room. Now, the players had to be removed by security. Here's Doc Rivers after all the chaos.
Yeah, let's put it like this. Our team was in our locker room. That's all I'll say. I'll let you do the rest of the investigation. I will say their entire team was not in their locker room. Now, you're going to have to figure it out from there. But I've led you pretty well on that one.
We were where we were supposed to be. We were in our locker room. So, whatever happens over there, I mean, we can't control what anybody else does. We controlled what we did. We were in our locker room. Everybody was in our seats. That was it. You should ask, you got to ask them.
All right, CC, how big a deal is this?
And it's a huge deal.
Yeah?
I mean, nothing good can come about by trying to confront a professional athlete, a grown man. Like, nothing good can come about. Do you think they're going to discuss it? Hey, man, you going to come to my golf tournament this offseason? Oh, yeah, can you sign a few things for charity and everything for the kids? No. Like, these NBA players have gotten totally out of hand. Like, oh, they're wanting to fight, they're arguing with the referee. Like, there's something going on now that, and I'm going to warn NBA players. NBA basketball is very, very popular right now. Probably more popular than it's been the last 20 years. You're gaining market share on the National Football League. Slow yourself, because people don't want to see people fighting when they go to sporting events. So all this talk, all this trash talk, all this, I'm trying to, this, I'm bigger than you, I'm badder than you, I'm tougher than you. It's the NBA. You guys aren't National Hockey League players. You're not NFL. Like, get a grip on that.
All right, but so
you got a good life.
CC, of course they have a good life, but I don't know how much that applies here. The reality is, the guy that was the instigator of this whole thing, they couldn't deal with on the court. It was Austin Rivers in street clothes.
Yeah, but this is just not a Clippers. We're gonna highlight this one. This is a league-wide thing that we're also going to conversate about the Clippers, because what happened late last night.
Right. Well, I mean, if we want to have a bigger discussion about what's going on with the players and the refs, what's going on with the players in general, that's fine. But on this specific instance, because the reason this is noteworthy is because, as Jenna mentioned, when Simomons and Lowry in the earlier game said, hey, let's go meet, they never actually met. The Rockets not only went to the Clippers locker room, they seemed to have some diabolical plan. Chris Paul knew a back passageway. He took 3 guys with him. He had Clint Capella go the front way, knock on the door to create some type of diversion while they wanted to go get to Austin Rivers. Now, I don't know what they were going to do once they got to Austin Rivers, but I do know this. Austin Rivers was not a participant in this game, and he instigated this. Austin Rivers, who is the crown prince of nepotism in the NBA, is sitting on the bench in street clothes, chirping. Blake Griffin, during the game, goes out of his way to bump into another person who can't participate, the head coach of the Rockets, and they then shortly thereafter exchange F-bombs. You have 2 guys who do a lot of talking with not a ton of backing it up in Blake and Austin, as far as from a physicality standpoint. And I think that's what got this to a fever pitch. And then you add to it the history between Chris Paul, his former team, and I guess knowing the inner workings of Staples Center. But you seem like more bothered by this, like it's a.
Well, I think if I may, I think I'm at least bothered by the fact that there's at least one instance of this on any given night. Either you're upset with the refs, or there's almost come to blows, or you get thrown out of a game. It seems like this is a far more physical NBA season than we've talked about, or read about, or discussed.
A couple weeks ago, we were talking about Daryl Morey and them being consumed with Golden State. They actually then, I think, had the best record in the NBA. Now they're sitting at 30-12. Harden has been out. There's other thing that Houston should be concentrating on compared to a team like the Clippers. All right? It was Chris Paul. It was his first matchup with the team that he played for. They started the game with a video tribute. They ended the game with some type of cowardly whatever they thought they were going to do in the opposition locker room. Like, it's a bunch of childness. Okay? Like, stay on your side. None of you guys are going to fight. You guys aren't fighters. You got all this guaranteed money. Enjoy your life, all right?
You heard that? So if you guys are watching and listening, that's
Thank
cool.
you. Now, if they were Ray Lewis or something, we walk in there, we could do some things.
Okay. But they're not,
Bunch of
so
chumps.
I guess they can't. Hey, the Cavaliers hosted the Warriors last night. Some would say these are the two teams who will be left standing at the very end. Also, these are the two teams who were left standing at the very end the last 3 years, so there's that. Golden State won it 118-108 behind 32 from Kevin Durant. LeBron had 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, but 8 turnovers in this one. Cleveland has now lost 8 of their last 10. Here is LeBron James after the game.
You want to play well, you want to see where you are, because for the most part they've been playing well for a long time now. So, you want to try to get better and better and see things that you can work on going forward, things that you need to get better at, things you can continue to get better at. So, it was a good game for us, for 36 minutes maybe 40 minutes. We had some opportunities, but we weren't able to cash in.
All right, Nick, as LeBron said, for 36 minutes, they did compete with the Warriors and competed pretty well, and then the game sort of got away from them. What changes do the Cavs have to make now to be able to compete with Golden State moving forward?
Well, they can compete with them as is. They've played twice this year. Both of these games were decided in the fourth quarter. In the first meeting, now, IT wasn't playing, but Steph wasn't playing. So if you want to throw that one out, you can. But in the first meeting, that's a one-possession game going down the stretch. Kevin Durant gets away with a couple fouls. The Warriors win. This game, it's tied early in the fourth quarter. LeBron's on the bench. The Cavs go 2 of 15 from the field over an extended time. The Warriors stretch them out. So they can compete with them as we are today. People are going to say, oh, their defense can't do it. Last year, after the All-Star break to the end of the season, they were 29th in defense. This year, they're 29th in defense. But what happened in the playoffs? They ratcheted up to 3rd in defense. So the Cavs clearly, to me, have an on-off switch. It's why I haven't panicked about them all year. But as they stand right now, it's not about competing with the Warriors. It'd be about beating the Warriors. And to beat the Warriors, of course, Isaiah Thomas needs to get back at least some close proxy of what he was last year. Maybe they make a trade involving that Brooklyn pick. But if they don't make a trade involving the Brooklyn pick, one lineup change, Brian Windhorst mentioned this, that they are discussing this, that I think it would be an interesting wrinkle. They tried it earlier in the season out of necessity, and that's playing LeBron more at center. LeBron, according to the advanced metrics, is one of the best rim protectors in the league. You can then truly have 4 shooters around him. You can let Isaiah play more point guard with LeBron. You would be going very small, but the Warriors tend to go very small. So that is one wrinkle they didn't unveil last night. I imagine in the NBA Finals they will try some lineups like that.
Would LeBron go for that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you go for that all year, but in a series, absolutely. Anything, and LeBron can be effective wherever he's at. So, yeah, I don't think that would be a problem as far as LeBron going along with it.
Yeah, LeBron, he would accept it, but he would accept it reluctantly because Kevin Love, he just accepted the job reluctantly. They moved him from the 4. He's been a standard 4, and they moved him to the 5. And Tristan Thompson coming off the bench. So I believe that they will have to experiment, but if you wait to get to the finals to do that, it's going to be even worse. Like, I believe Golden State is significantly better than the Cavaliers. So they are going to have to come up with some formula, some type of rotation for what they're going to do. I don't believe LeBron going to center is the answer to that because they still have problems defensively. Because, yeah, you got 4 shooters, but what about the other end of the court? You have to defend. Okay, so now you got LeBron. He's your rim protector, hypothetically, but defensively, you're still a weak basketball team. So Cleveland is going through major changes because of minutes. Tristan Thompson's coming back from injury. We know IT's coming back from injury. So trying to get them acclimated back into the regular rotation, it has been a chore. But the on and off switch with Cleveland, that's not a plus. It's a minus. They've lost 8 out of their last 10 games. And if they had played with the same intensity they played with last night, they wouldn't have lost 8 out of their last 10. So I'm not going to throw last night's game in there, but I'm not talking about last night. I'm talking about how they play on a regular basis. Right. It's hard to improve when you don't play hard. And that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it's not only this year. They have done this several years.
And so, Cece, earlier in the week, or maybe it was last week, you said if they played the Warriors right now, they'd get swept and they'd get blown out throughout the series. After seeing last night, with Isaiah going 8 of 21, with Dwayne Wade being 5 of 16, and seeing the Warriors at full strength.
And see, they were just at full strength for numbers. The Warriors didn't play great.
Well, and the Cavs had nothing to do with that. That was just the Warriors just didn't play great. Do you still feel that way?
Yes, the Golden State is significantly better. Right now, if they played, they might win a game. It's not going 4-2. It's not going 4-3.
Yes, okay. So I feel like you and I have both said, now this is assuming that Isaiah Thomas is going to improve and get healthier, that this Cavs team is better than the one last year. The one last year, that game...
No, we thought they were better.
You no longer think that?
It's not played out. We haven't had the team healthy.
Right.
Tristan Thompson might not be with the team. Jeff Green hadn't played with IT a whole bunch. Shumpert's been hurt. So, no, we don't know yet.
Okay.
We haven't seen them together.
So I again, and I am doing some anticipating here that IT is going to improve, that he's going to get healthier. Assuming that happens, I do think this team is better equipped to beat Golden State than last year's team because they don't die when LeBron goes to the bench the way last year's team did. The critical game of people look at last year's finals and they say it was a blowout because the Warriors won in 5. The key point of that game was Game 3, the game we were at together. And I know everyone points to Korver missed 3 and then Kevin Durant's made 3. But the real key of that game was the end of the first quarter. When the Cavs had a small lead, LeBron goes to the bench for 90 seconds, they get outscored by 10, and the Warriors end up having a big lead going into the second quarter. That won't happen again this year. So the idea that they weren't even at all close last year when the series turned in Game 3, and I think they're better this year. So, I mean, I guess we'll see it. I thought last night was evidence of that.
Well, meanwhile, if the Warriors aren't playing full strength, they picked up their 13th straight road win. So, all right.
Record's 14.
Coming up are the Eagles. That's good.